campaign about reduce crime. Look where crime is. After 3 weeks after election, look where crime is. So what that telling us? Right? At the time while they were talking about reducing crime is because enough of the incident them were going never report, you know. Has never make it never been known. Enough of the incident them has never been known by the media. Because the same police them were labor right. Right? Enough of them who is in control of reporting these things to the media. Right? They keep it away from the media. So sometimes when you hear no news read about certain crime, it were going on. But because some of these crimes wasn't as severe as some of what is happening now. Right?
The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, has made 11 recommendations to the country's legislature, which it says are aimed at reducing the number of security force fatalities, which have increased since 2020, to enable what it describes as the return to an operating environment where the risk to life is lessened in planned operations. The recommendations, which are contained in the Special Investigative Report, Planned Police Operations, tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday, comes at a time when 47 police officers have been charged with criminal offenses during the period January 1, 2024 to 30 September 30, 2025. Of that number, 13 have been charged with murder, and the greater majority relate to assault allegations. According to INDECOM, in the 5 years since 2021, the number of persons killed in security force shooting incidents have increased each year.
But as me say, if it was PMP in our office, no found the labor right within a ball out and say, telling us them incompetent, them can't manage crime. Right? But see that continue because the way in which, right, crime fight, it fight in a way with a lot of ignorance. Because as I always said, a lot of times you're going out there and you're shooting innocent people and involve them into something that they don't know about. That is not the right way to fight crime. Even those guys know who are killing off people. If you can catch them, it would be the best way to do without kill them. Because what you really want to know about these guys is what led them to do the things they do. But when you kill them, you don't get to know what caused them to do the things they do. So therefore, you can't put any mechanism in place for it not to happen again.
And particularly in 2024 and 2025, the Commission said in 2019, the number of people killed during a planned police operation, PPO, was the lowest, at 10, while in 2021 PPO fatalities was 9% total fatalities, when 11 men were killed. It stated, however, that, since 2022, there has been a marked and disquieting increase in fatal shootings occurring during PPOs, said INDECOM, from the low of 11 persons fatally wounded in 2021 to 76 in 2024. It represents a 591% increase in deaths arising from planned police operations in 36 months. The Commission said this continuing policing tactic is observed in the first 7 months of 2025, January-July, where 97 people have been killed during PPOs, representing 51% of the 190 fatalities in 2025. At the 31st of July, Tuesday, INDECOM, which in its report said an analysis of the PPOs in the study showed the absence of senior commander, superintendent rank, and above, in some cases where a fatality occurs, recommended that a senior officer rank of inspector or above should be present on all planned operations. It said junior officers at constable to sergeant rank should not be undertaking SNAP raids without the requisite planning or involvement of the inspector or above rank. According to INDECOM, in 2022, the number of PPOs where teams were led by a cop below the inspector rank was 4 of the 21 PPOs. INDECOM also said, in 3 of those instances, there were no recorded plans available to the Commission. It said in 2023, a further 4 PPOs were led by a sergeant rank or lower, while in 2024, 24 PPOs were led by an officer below the rank of inspector. The Commission regards the absence of senior rank and effective oversight as a likely contributor to the increase in fatalities, INDECOM declared. In the same breath it said, planned operations and entry to private homes to search or arrest should always be accompanied by a search warrant, unless other legislation exempts the necessity for a warrant. INDECOM, in noting that a few PPOs in its current review had occurred without documented plans or warrants, was keen to point out that the pattern of attending upon persons subject to current murder charges on information received without written plans, warrant, or involvement of senior officers is not conducive to the Jamaica Constabulary Forces, JCF, strategic obligations to ensure a right to life protections. Furthermore, it said, eyewitness testimonies from citizens in these cases provide a quite different account. In the meantime, INDECOM called on the constabulary to ensure that a standardized search warrant form is utilized across the force. It said consideration should be given for justices of the peace, JPs, to time their authorizations. In addition to the date on a search warrant, all warrants should be legible to identify the JP authorizing the document. JPs must also ensure that all search warrants, authorized by them, are applied for under the correct legislation, it said.
Sure, the building with Juliet, Holness, aka Cowfoot, size 13 a build. Big old building. Building look nice, see? Class. See them there.
Good day, my friend. What's your thought on minimum wage?
I think minimum wage is at the right rate right now.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
it is. Because let's say my mother is sick and I take home $180,000, right? And I pay rent, I pay water bill, I pay electricity. When the minimum wage, nobody's working for the minimum wage right now. And let's say I pay my helper $17,000. You know how much money that is coming out of my salary? Minimum wage has increased about 3 times, and I have not had a salary increase 3 times since minimum wage has increased. So it is at the right rate.
Is minimum wage a governmental idea, you know, to keep some of the population poor?
No, minimum wage has increased steadily and has increased based on inflation.
So who deserves minimum wage?
Who deserves minimum wage?
No one wants it, so who deserves it?
Minimum wage is just a guide for, and every country has a minimum wage or a minimum rate. So it's just a guide for you how to pay your employees.
Okay, does this minimum wage thing, will it discourage young youths and new high school graduates?
No, it should not.
To not want to take on simple jobs like wholesale?
No, it should not. It should not. Last year, for instance, I used to pay like a laborer, let's say $3,000 per day, right? To do maybe, let's say he's doing filling black pockets. This year, since the minimum wage has increased, that same laborer who I would have paid $3,000 per day is now demanding $5,000 per day.
Okay, should this minimum wage thing be cancelled out and just give people a set wage that can cover all their necessities and bills?
The truth is, every country must have a minimum wage, or else people will be paid less than the minimum wage, or some people will be paid more. And let me give you an example. I know this security guard, right? And he's basically earning a little above the minimum wage. His mother is not well, right? And he has to go to work, and he has to leave somebody to take care of his mother. Now you're telling this security guard who gets maybe $20,000 per week that he should pay the person who is assisting his mother more than $15,000 per week or $16,000 per week. It's unfair.
Okay, they say the people that work the hardest always get the less pay. You think these people deserve more for their hard labor?
Come again, you say the people that work the hardest, but hardest in terms of what?
Like, for instance,
give me an example.
Physical effort. is pushing a lot of your strength, a lot of your energy.
Not really, because sometimes the person who you think might work the hardest may not give you a full 8 hours worth of job for the day, so maybe not.
Okay, so these people that work the hardest and get the less pay, what should they do about that?
What they should do about that?
Yeah, if they're so concerned, because there are many people that might, be uncomfortable with it. And
well, it depends on the employer. What can the employer afford? You understand? It depends. And it depends on what both of you negotiate to do. It depends on the agreement, right? Some people just don't want to work. They don't even want to work the minimum wage. They don't even want to work.
Okay, in this time and age in Jamaica, is hard work really the key to success? Can you be successful, or can you succeed in life working hard and earning minimum wage?
Yes, you can earn minimum wage by working harder, of course, and yes, you can earn. It's not the amount of money you earn, it's the amount of money you save. You understand? So I might be earning, let's say, $15,000 per day, and you might have somebody who is earning $15,000 per week, but yet that person who is earning $15,000 per week or $16,000 per week may be saving more money than I am saving. Right? So it's not the amount of money you earn. You understand? It's the amount of money you are able to save.
Okay.
And it depends on how you invest your money, how you diversify your money. Because you can be earning minimum wage, but you decide, so well, when you get a little pay, you're going to buy something and sell and make additional money. Some people think that they must just settle with the minimum wage only. But some people might think that they need to hustle, or they need to diversify their money. They need to invest in other things apart from just hand to mouth. But they might invest their things instead of saving their money in the bank. They might decide to buy stocks and shares, or buy things to sell.
Okay, thank you for your opinion.
You're welcome.
Yes, in general, just the right person. What's the job description? Alright, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's the start on minimum wage?
Alright, so my understanding is that the minimum wage right now is 16,000 per week.
Yeah.
Is it per week?
Yeah.
Alright, 16,000. Fortnightly?
Yeah.
16,000 fortnightly?
No, sorry, it's weekly. Yeah.
It's weekly.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Alright, so 16,000 per week is an okay amount, I would say, depending on your lifestyle. So if you know you're at the minimum wage level, you just add up a lifestyle that is, in sequence with that. So I think 16,000 is not, well, it certainly couldn't work for me. But I would say if you have a lifestyle and you know your income, then you should match up your lifestyle with that.
So everyone wants to live lavish.
Well, exactly. And not everybody has the, the qualifications or the income to live lavishly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's minimum. You think it's a governmental idea to keep some of the population poor?
Yes, it could be, right? And you have some sociological concepts that say that the government intentionally tries to keep some of the population poor so that they can control them. It sounds like a conspiracy to me, but I think it has merit. But my personal belief is that isn't the case.
Okay, does minimum wage discourage young youths and new high school graduates from wanting to take on simple jobs like simple market jobs and wholesale jobs?
Yes, definitely. So, somebody coming out of high school, they probably look at $16,000 as not a lot of money, especially, seeing the markets and the crown and the chopper lifestyle in dancehall music. $16,000 per week is definitely not going to afford you that.
Alright, should the government cancel this minimum wage thing, or should they just give people, or should they give people a set wage that can cover a certain levels of bills, or should they give them a set pay that you think that can balance them or can take care of their bills and help them to live? No, not lavish, but live okay, be okay.
Alright, I don't think that is sustainable based on the population. So I think minimum wage is one way that the government, can control the large populace of persons without making the country go broke and to affect small businesses, because while minimum wage is something that the government sets, the small businesses that you see around the country, they are the ones responsible for paying that. So you have to think about the affordability from business owners, right, if they can manage to pay their employees.
Okay, they say that people, most of the time, the people that work the hardest, meaning physical effort, get the less pay. Do you think these people deserve more for their hard labor?
Yes, so I see people working in the sun, I see people standing on their feet for hours, I see people, you know, doing very manual and arduous tasks. I think those persons who do very laborious tasks should get more pay.
Okay, so what would your advice be to these people that are putting in so many hard physical labor and getting this minimum wage?
Well, I think that they should try to negotiate their wages based on the effort that they put in and find out if maybe they could be paid, you know, by the hour, right, that they work, and see if somehow that can amount to more than 16,000 per week.
Okay, if hard work pays the less in today's Jamaica's reality, would you say that hard work is the key to success?
Well, no. So hard work is not the key to success. Smart work is the key to success.
Okay, so thank you for your opinion.
All right.
In the meantime, INDECOM said, all planned operations must be subject of proper planning and documentation. Adherence to the JCF's use of force and firearms policy must be reinforced, and records must demonstrate compliance with the policy. The Commission said, due consideration is to be given to information and/or intelligence which demonstrates that alternative options have been considered or acted upon. To interdict the person, especially where it is known the subject is already reporting regularly at a police station or appearing at court. INDECOM said, while it is cognizant of the hurdles faced by the JCF in its procurement program and recognizes the steps already taken in the deployment of body-worn cameras, it remained unmoved in its insistence that body-worn camera resources be shared and some reallocated away from other public-facing engagements. 2. Equipping fugitive apprehension teams, lead officers, as a matter of priority, and the Commission, which had expressed alarm at an increasing operational practice of the removal and/or destruction of private closed-circuit television (CCTV) equipment from premises where shooting occurred, declared that the removal, destruction, or tampering of CCTV equipment, whether private or public, by JCF officers, whilst on operations, is not permissible. A clear force instruction from the Commissioner's office should make clear that such action is prohibited, and with appropriate sanctions in the event of non-compliance, it maintained. INDECOM also called for a greater regard to the control of persons, once confronted and detained and prior to searching. Such persons should be physically restrained from being able to seize or gain access to any firearm or weapon once under police control. Use of handcuffs and/or plasticuff ties should be available and utilized in all planned operations. All recovered firearms should be formally and correctly placed within a forensic recovery bag for transport and photography. The collection of firearms and placing in informal packaging, wrappings, coverings, or pockets should desist. Such equipment should be available on planned operations, the Commission stated. INDECOM earlier in its report had said a further feature of some PPOs, which results in fatal shootings, was the omission to control and secure the subject person once the police have domination over that person. It said recent cases in 2024 and 2025 record, from both police and civilian accounts, that suspects have been able to secure access to a firearm after they have been detained, to threaten the officers, resulting in their death. Such fatalities are wholly preventable if the correct risk assessment and officer safety measures are implemented. Such scenarios present a grave risk of harm to police officers, who can quickly become vulnerable when suspects are so readily able to have free movement to apparently seize a firearm. Officers should have total control over the environment and the suspect, who is already identified as dangerous. In these cases and others, there are no witnesses to the shooting incident, INDECOM pointed out.
Hot Water Channel, straight to the max. Bring the thing to the people then. Original generous speed. Same way. Man, big up Hot Water Channel, enough ice cream. Yeah man, big up yourself.